Well, I guess welcome to Frontiers of the Mind. Game can't be full screened, and something keeps playing constantly, and I don't know what that noise is. It sounds a bit like a tape. I clicked on the start menu button, and nothing happened. So you can actually see this. I know I can full screen this, so it's a bit of a windowed game situation here. So you'll see things crop up at the bottom. I'm not really sure why. Why is it doing this? Is that loud? That has to be extremely loud. That's very loud. That's extremely loud. Sorry, that must be blowing out your eardrums. 1:39 p.m. What's in here? What's in the recycle bin? Alright, fine. Frontiers of the Mind.exe. Now, for some context in this game. I found this game very much randomly. And then I was wondering what this was, because I couldn't tell, because the way it describes it is very much like those analog horror games where it tries to make it feel real, I think. But I still don't know whether it's real or not real. It mentioned that it's almost like a behind-the-scenes DVD of an existing actual real IP of some sorts of some show. But so I couldn't figure it out. And then I watched like a video of like two different people playing it a tiny bit. It seems like there's actually stuff here that's a game, but I don't even know if that's necessarily true. Because as soon as I confirmed that there was something here, I just stopped, because again, I didn't want to spoil it myself. So I have no clue what to expect. All I know is that it's this weird mockumentary thing about a study on the Maze Masters experiment, which apparently was a real TV show that it said it was real. A very interesting sort of concept. What is the Maze Masters? Help. This is why. So this is why I thought it was real. Between 1987 and 1994, the British channel Network 7 broadcasted 112 episodes of the TV game show Maze Masters, an interactive audience targeting younger audiences. An interactive adventure, sorry. And it's interesting because it's a bit of information that is real enough that you think it would exist, but because it's old enough, you also can't tell what it is, and you can't verify it. It's like, I can't find anything on this. So you don't really know whether or not it is a real scary thing, or if it's actually just an in-universe joke of sorts. Which I think is a very effective tool, right? It's at the suspension of disbelief that makes it so strange. But it's also that idea of like, what's that term? It's that idea of like, you can't even verify it, even if you don't believe it. Even if you don't believe in it and you're not affected by it, you can't even verify it. And so you're forced to go through that suspension of disbelief. It's very effective when you think of it like that. Next image. Okay, well, I don't... So the next image. Produced by Third Eye Pictures Studios during 8 seasons, Maze Masters was an adventure role-playing game staging groups of teenagers trapped inside a castle. Bertram, the dungeon master, selected an adventurer who had put on a helmet which partially blinded them. Oh. That's pretty morbid. In theory, this contestant could see only their feet and nothing of the world around. And even look at that image. Very similar to the type of analog horror stuff that you would see normally. Let me kill the background on like my stuff. It looks a bit too much, I think. It sort of conflicts with the feel of this game. And so they can't see anything but their own feet. It's also interesting to see these like almost FMV images too. This mixture of reality and fake unreality. That makes it so terrifying too, because again, it looks like it could have been a TV show. It's odd. The 3 companions helped them from afar. Only those companions could see their rooms and the trials. Oh. Every episode followed the same pattern, although the riddles and settings could change. Only some parts of the show were aired. Interesting. Why? Oh, because the kids were going to like die? Is that why? It looks like they were going to die, so maybe that's why. The different sections of this CD-ROM explore the format and the backstage of the show. The idea is to shed light on a new light on the strange events which have been revealed afterwards. Why is a person being arrested? The names and last names of the persons involved were changed and their faces digitally transformed. 5 years after the end of the show, the truth about the mysteries surrounding Third Eye Pictures' activities has not yet been verified with certainty. Therefore, we wish to protect the anonymity of the persons involved. What a great hook. Like, that's exactly the kind of hook that you want to have, right? It's a hook that says, oh, what could this possibly mean? And what could this possibly be? And the hook is you don't know if it's real or not. You can't tell. There's no way to tell if it's real or not. All you can do is hope and believe that maybe it couldn't. Because the horror of it being real is worse than anything else. Because what happened afterwards, and why were they all blurred away? The players, casting, the Dungeon Master, controversies, the Bristol kids, what? The children chosen to take part in the show were selected according to a particular process. First, they had to send letter to production and to give a certain number of hobbies, such as their school reports. Their hobbies and the sports that they practiced, along with all their food intolerances or medical treatments. Interesting. My personal child health record. What's funny is that people always say you have like a permanent record of some sorts. You kind of have one for your health records if you're up to date with it, especially in like Canada. But I've never seen any other permanent record, and even that apparently changes depending on if you keep a record. Like if you don't keep a record and your doctor's office doesn't have it anymore for some reason, then you just don't have anything. When their application was accepted via a standard letter, the kids were invited to go to the closest audition, which was there. Once there, they were introduced to the show writers and to the members of the shooting crew. Then the casting directors would have them pass a test called an intuition test, which, according to the witnesses, was probably a sort of disguised Gansfield protocol. What is a Gansfield protocol? Gansfield experiment is an assessment used by parapsychologists that they contend can test for extrasensory perception or telepathy. What? Why telepathy? Masters of frontiers of the mind. Mind masters. Oh. To see the answers. A Gansfield experiment. You put the person on a table and you zoom images into their brain. Okay. Kids had to take a telepathy test involving cards with specific symbols, and during which they had to guess the Xena card chosen by their companion. So you had to read their mind through the thing, you had to know whether or not it was true. I've seen shows that tried to take this test to like debunk it, and I found this so interesting. But every time I tried it, I always get the wrong answer. The children always described this experience as a funny session, and apparently they never realized they were taking a cognitive test. In all likelihood, the kids' roles during the show were determined by the results of these tests. Allegedly, the child with the lowest results was assigned to wear the helmet during the episode. Oh my god. Because he would have the least best ability to communicate with those at the helm. Oh my god. Therefore, the choice made by the Dungeon Master was not arbitrary. It had been planned long before. You see that? Did you see that? I thought that glitch was because of me clicking through too fast, but no, look. See that image? Two brains intermingling into what? Even back here there was that. See that? E into E something. A few days later, the kids would receive a phone call telling them if they were selected or not. The Dungeon Master. Bertram was a main figure in this adventure. Oh, Bertram. He was both a companion and a potential threat. His objective was to help the players when they needed assistance, and to make their journey harder if they sailed through the challenges. He knew by heart all the rules of the game, and he had access to solutions of all the riddles of the castle. As the Dungeon Master, Bertram controlled the game's rhythm. In case of conflict, he was the only judge entitled to decide in case of conflict. Why only him, though? Oh god. However, several members of the studio asserted that he was wearing an earpiece during the shootings. Bertram is an iconic character of the show, and he left his mark on a whole generation of young viewers. But all the investigation revealed that they knew nothing about Third Eye Pictures' doings. Oh, Third Eye Pictures, I get it now. Third eye, like you've opened your third eye and so you see beyond the material corporeal realm. Bertram got himself noticed for other reasons. Several letters of complaint were sent to Network 7's headquarters, reporting the fainting fits, migraines, and headaches affecting some children. These incidents mostly happened when the actor would perform the Bertram stare during the final shot of the episodes. The stare was described by young viewers as hypnotical and terrifying. Several adults reported having similar reactions when watching those sequences. The Dungeon Master is the only character who was never replaced during the 8 seasons of the show. Oh god. Okay, what was that? And also look over here, it says like a Dungeon Master, Monk plus CK guarding Lilith, Wall Monster Algarth. There was something on the TV there, as if we were seeing through the results of it. Controversies. During the game, the children seemed delighted, and it positively affected the show. Ooh. But how delighted were they? The audience ratings were among the best of the channel. The show even won several prizes, thanks, notably, to the wonderful work of the writers' crew and of the artists in charge of the show's artistic direction. Yeah, here we go, practical effects. I love that shit. As for different experimental protocols, they were always so subtle and so well designed that there was never any suspicion, and they never disturbed the kids in the short and medium term. Oh. At the end of each adventure, the kids would receive a certificate on which was written a text supposed to cleanse the different parapsychic suggestions to which they had been exposed. Parapsychic suggestions to being exposed. Although we do not know the exact number of accidents which occurred, 2 of them have been certified. What were the accidents? The first one involves prototype number 2. This version of the helmet made it possible to show the adventurer's mental health in real time. Thanks to captors connected to the pulse and to the back of the kid's eye, the software was supposed to display a face which would change color according to the stress level of the player. Oh god. That does not spark joy in me. That is terrifying. During one episode, the face suddenly turned into something gruesome, the skin peeling off on its own until there was nothing left but a sinister skull. Oh god. The kid wearing the helmet started to cry uncontrollably, and the episode had to be stopped in order to remove the device from the helmet. The second incident is even more striking, and apparently was not related to the helmet itself since no particular device had been integrated during this episode. Look, a pair of eyes now. What's inside this kid's eye? In the course of a discussion with the jester, the player suddenly had an important nosebleed beneath the helmet. The so-called nosebleed episode turned out to be the starting point of the problems related to the jester. See the jester instance. The Bristol Kids. Hey. The case of the Bristol Kids dates back to the pilot episode, which was supposed to convince potential broadcasters to buy the show. The contestants were around 14 years old at the time of the shooting in 1986, and they must be around 30 today. I keep thinking that shooting means shooting. We ignored the protocols the players were exposed to, and it took several years for the disturbing points to be revealed. The 4 young winners pursued brilliant studies right after the show, although they initially had low to middle grades at school. They all developed particular skills in biology and maths, so much that they skipped several years and joined special curriculums. The most disturbing element is that those young people did not know each other before the show, and they did not keep in touch in any particular way after the shooting. Annual conference and exhibit show. Eventually in 1996, the 4 former contestants were invited all together, and by chance, to the prize-giving ceremony of a mathematics reward, and that is where they connected the dots. The dots? Previously, the connection with the show would ultimately involve some speculations, but their participation to the Maze Masters pilot episode is the only common point between those 4 gifted persons and what they did on the show. No similar event has been reported with other contestants. It's almost like they unlock something in their minds to go further. But why did they go towards biology and stuff, right? Why would they want to go in a field that is about the mechanics of like organic matter and stuff? Very interesting. What about this? Oh, who is this character? Remember, the Jester incident. We can learn about this here too. Let's see the allies. During the adventure, the groups would meet several allies willing to help them. He looks like the wizard from Plum Records with that one video where the guy goes to 7-Eleven and is trying to smoke up. And that is a very, very deep cut reference. But if you know, then you know. It's the same channel as the Dracula rap. And it's all the wizards that are smoking up inside of a convenience store. Or they're like pretending to. Same look. In addition to the Dungeon Master, they could rely on the assistance of Maldor, the Chamberlain. The Chamberlain, sorry. He could be prankish and slightly terrifying, but he never refused to help the adventurers. Why was he terrifying? Easily identifiable with his red gown and his crown of white hair, his help often appeared as clues related to the forthcoming riddles. The contestants could also walk into Selma the Shepherdess, a young woman lost in the castle too. She never clearly explained how she arrived here, but she would give the contestants advice and directions. The help of Cora the Sentinel could be determinant. This mercenary from the marshes surrounding the castle knew all the weaknesses of all the entities abounding in this place. They must have had so much fun acting like this, because it's either the creator of this found a bunch of people who are willing to cosplay this, or they took shots of it from an existing show, which is like surprisingly fun to look at. Other characters would appear occasionally. Garen the Apothecary, mischievous and wily. Alina, the Crimson Princess, the only bearer of the Crystal Rings. The character list is still long. Melvadesh the Groom, Keeper of the Dragon's Eyes, King Khan's servant. Bagat, the Innkeeper, well versed in the gossips around the castle. Oswald, King Khan's counselor, compulsive gambler, but faithful advisor. Salkus, the shapeshifter elf. We do not know of any of his other forms. Myrddin the Wizard, descendant of the first druid. He was the only character who could bring a contestant back to life. What does that mean? Enemies. Unfortunately, in Maze Masters, the enemies outnumbered the allies. In this section, only the human-shaped antagonists are listed, and no other kind of creatures which are under sea entities. Lord Fear, POV, like you're writing your first action adventure RPG as like a child, and you're like, I know what to name this guy. He will strike fear in your hearts. I'm gonna name him Lord Fear. Was one of the most striking ones, as the final enemy the adventurers would fight in the throne room at the end of their journey. He does look striking. He ruled over several sadistic henchmen, blindly serving his dark ambitions. I love this guy. This guy is a great villain. If I saw him as a villain, I wouldn't know whether to be afraid or to laugh. I'm not really sure. But I love it's mainly his smile, right? It's when villains smile so widely that they feel more like a goofy old-timey villain, where they do the like cackle, not the stare at you with like Hannibal Lecter eyes, right? There's like two different generations of villains, and nowadays I think most of the industry across all entertainment is skewing towards the Hannibal Lecter and less of the cackling one. Aside from the Dark Lord, there was Queen Nargal, who could control the main entities of the castle. Like the Jester. I can't go back. Huh. His faithful servant and counselor was the Jester himself, with a face on his... Oh. As from Season 4, new enemies would appear in the show. Huh? Look at that. That enemy that they don't want us to hear. Cast turnover. Wait. Oh god, listen to that. Oh my god. That is a terrifying song. The beat makes it less terrifying, but just the noise itself of those screams, that's actually horrifying. Although the incidents related to the cast of the show remain quite minor, they are no less noteworthy concerning the evolutions discovered later. It appeared that some actors got so lost in their roles that they were unable to break character. The actress playing Liliana was found asleep on an unsaddled horse somewhere in London suburbs. And the performer playing Watan the Wizard set his garage on fire while trying to find the Philosopher's Stone. Yet, the cast turnover certainly remains the most curious element. Except for a few rare exceptions, most of the actors refuse to keep their roles after their first shooting. Many reasons were mentioned, but the most common one was related to issues with catering on the set, and in particular, the presence of something in the meat. And remember, what did those 4 people in the pilot go on to do? Biology and mathematics. It's all about the bio and the math. What was that? It's like long pig. Human leg. The Jester instant. We're missing a code. We need a code to unlock that. See, okay, so this is a game in the form of a mockumentary, which is such a cool... This is such a great concept. I just wish it was... I was at the full screen, but it's such a... Like, that is a compelling concept because it's so hard to know the lines between reality and unreality, right? You think it's not real, and then but then as you go through it, it starts to seep into my head that it is real. And honestly, I kind of feel like maybe it is more real than I thought it would be. Rooms. Let's go safe rooms. Wow, that's a lot of safe rooms. We can go to the encounter room, the enigma room, the healing room, or the empty room. We go to the enigma room, left and right. Although there are many dangerous rooms and maze masters, the adventurers could take a break in some of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Info. Huh. 1342. Wait a minute. 1342. Watch this. Three. 4. Oh my god. 2. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe the code doesn't matter, and this is just a way for us to see what this is. Do you hear that? There's like a shape in the static too. Oh my god. Yeah, maybe this isn't a code. This is just a... Like, you are going to be viewing this, and this is what you view. The remnants of what's left of the Jester after whatever happened. But what's interesting is that the page of the Jester wasn't the one that showed up at the very end. At least I don't think so. It didn't seem like that was the corrupted creature. So you go to cast turnover, right? Sorry, wrong one. Enemies, right? The Jester is here separately. This is a whole different face. Okay, rooms. Enigma room. Okay, so yep, we can take a break in some of them. Different numbers and stuff on the floor. The first ones were called Enigma rooms, and they were of all sorts. Maths, riddles, brain teasers, rebus puzzle, or anagrams. In these rooms, the 3 assistant players could be particularly useful. I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're at least a 7-year-old child and you can't see that this is an anagram of the word ghost, you belong in this room forever. Bertram would only give clues if the team manifested signs of weakness. That's a weird thing to say, weakness. What do you mean manifest signs of weakness? Encounter rooms. Encounter rooms were rooms where the bearer of the helmet would meet a character or a peaceful creature. Oh. That's a great image. These are great images. It honestly does look like a fun show to be on. On a very few occasions, an enigma room would serve as an encounter room, so you get both. So you solve the puzzle, then you meet someone, like at the well. The well to see the Jester. Well? Is there maybe something with a W in it? Because here, look, there's a well here too, but you see how the well looks different here compared to here? Like there's something surrounding the well. I guess if you open the well, it's there. Empty rooms were statistically very rare, but they could still be found from time to time. They could be mistaken for the rooms inhabited by wall monsters. Although they could offer a short break, they were neglected by the adventurers who never stayed there for long. Why? Some said that they felt uncomfortable in these rooms, while others would explicitly speak of fear that inspired them, of the fear they inspired them. In them, maybe they inspired in them. But the most common emotion mentioned by the contestants is that of a feeling of unbearable melancholia. Despite their very young age, the contestants said that they experienced the emotions of an old person on the verge of death. Some of them would feel regrets and remorse related to notions they could not explain. The production eventually stopped using those empty rooms due to the players' negative feedback. However, some of those rooms never ceased to appear in spite of this decision, triggering a wave of panic and confusion among the production crews. As if the rooms themselves are alive beyond what the production even wanted. Healing rooms. Healing rooms were rather rare, but appreciated when they appeared. They gave the adventurers a few precious health potions, and without them, some teams would probably have failed. In addition to the room, some items from the choice trial could also provide some health potions. During the last scene of the adventure, the players could also receive some bonus points according to the number of health points remaining at the end of the journey. Nilurim. Merlin. Wait. Well. West? I'm trying to think of can I use anything to spell that? The word well, the word ghost, can I use those to open something? Probably not. Otherwise it'd be too easy, right? Let's go to lethal rooms. I'm sorry, what do you mean lethal rooms? What? Some rooms contain used bombs, set by Lord Fear's henchmen. They're not real bombs though, right? The player stepped into one of these rooms. Their friends had only 30 seconds to guide the player towards the closest exit. And they would use it through telepathy, so the player themselves wouldn't see this, and it would all be supposedly graphics on the screen. If they could not do it within the allotted time, the bomb exploded, and the game was lost. What? Oh my god. Tell me, where was that child standing? Here, this is the room. They were standing there, and now they're just a pile of ashes on the floor with an actual explosion, as if the bomb was real. How about trap rooms? Or for the bomb rooms, the players could also walk into what was called a trap room. Huh. Okay, what are these guys? Are they goblins? There were different types of them, and just like the bomb rooms, the player had to follow their friends and indications in order to escape the threats. Like the spears on the wall, yep. Circular saws, blades tied to pendulums, huge gaps in the ground. There was a great number of threats. Okay, that's scary. Now again, imagine, right, if you fall in, you die in reality in this space. Or do you actually get to survive in some way? There's a face down there. If they failed, the player would lose points, but the game wouldn't end. If the number of health points reached 0, the game was over, right? So points are health points, all the same, and that would be the game over. And that skull image was the same as what we saw before in the thing. Against all odds, no incident was reported in those rooms during the show. Night rooms. I don't like this. The night rooms rarely appeared, but they made an impact when they did. The bearer of the helmet had to find a way to cunningly escape the wrath of the enemies. These are the entities. Galahad appeared in one of these rooms, and look, the image of Galahad is almost corrupted, as if we can't even behold him. It's why the wall said Merlin, as if this is actually about Merlin and, the Knights of the Round Table and the Arthurian legends. So far, the production crews have said that they still ignore how the statue displayed in the headquarters hall had appeared, or what kind of mechanism brought it to life. Even if the contestants' injuries were harmless, this event is one of the reasons behind the show's cancellation. Random rooms. The random rooms are the least documented rooms, since none of them was aired on TV. They looked more or less like normal rooms, and the only feature that would set them apart was the apparition of specific enemies in these rooms. The only random room which could be recorded off-air was the one containing the pit brain, as it was called by those who mentioned it. Nonetheless, they were unable to describe their interactions with this entity. A brain. Color rooms. Green room, red room, yellow room, blue room. It's all the same. The gameplay of the green rooms was particularly distinctive. When the contestant stepped into one of them, they had to roll a dice. The dice itself would then appear in the room. When the contestant, oh, that's right. Okay, so it's what? As in the small dice would appear in the large screen, or is it the opposite? And is it the contestant as in the person walking around? I guess yeah, no, it has to be them. Sorry, the subject is the same. Sorry, I was just trying to figure out if they use a different term for a contestant that's on the ground versus the ones sending them like brainwaves. So you would roll, and the dice would appear. Oh, once the dice roll, they turn into a kind of portal emerging in the room. It was actually a gate which would take the player to another part of the castle, and the exact location was decided by the dice's result. The mechanism appeared in several episodes. During one episode in Season 3, the portal opened a gateway to a dark and terrifying dimension. The place was systematically called the Dark Place by all the contestants who came back from it. This incident happened twice, during Seasons 6 and 8. Where did we go? The feelings described by the contestants express a sudden and frightening existential angst, which would follow them until the last scene of the adventure of the healing room. The contestant who went to the farthest point into the heart of this dimension found what would seem to be a watchtower. He mentioned a dreadful presence overlooking from the tower, but remained unable to define it. An absolute silence. Give me a second. I need to do something. I did not lock my door with the top lock. I didn't do that. Bedrooms. The red rooms are located in a zone called the stomach, a kind of organic mental hell designed to try the contestants' nerves. Ooh. The red rooms were located in a zone called the stomach, a kind of organic. Oh, sorry. Same. I'm in a mental hell of my own reading this. The issues with the meat started right after the first apparition of the setting. In all likelihood, those two elements were connected. What in the hell is that? After a few airings of the setting, the production had definitively removed it since it received so many complaints from families who deemed it too gory for such young audiences. Oh god, yeah. It's like worms and tapeworms and stuff. Yellow rooms. Huh? Oh my god. They're in a house. They're in a building. Look, it's like they're in a building. As if they're actually there somewhere. Nothing works. Blue rooms. Up to now, the blue rooms have remained mysterious. Created by Jay? Wait, Jay? Oh, Jay as in Bertram? Created by Jay as some sort of mental trial which could only be crossed with a substantial mental health, the blue rooms would trigger particular visions related to a dizzying dimension reminiscent of brutalism. Every contestant, even remotely fragile, could only stay there for a very few moments, and they all mentioned the heavy feeling of sadness. The corridor leading to this dimension is in itself a challenge to cross. Is that a skull? Notably, there were cruel imps and a horrible giant with a distorted face. Oh, that's a giant. Oh yeah, that's a giant. If the contestant managed to avoid them, they could step into the zone. Several images have been recorded, but their content makes every attempt to analyze them useless. Jay's pages on this matter seem to have disappeared from his research notebooks. Who is Jay again? What happened to... Oh, his helmet is still on. This is a very interesting. Again, it reads almost like evidence that you would see maybe as part of a crime scene, which is exactly the setting that it started with. So it's a very effective and honestly very terrifying start to what is going on here. Secret rooms, like dark rooms. Why is this locked up? How about the meat rooms? This section, oh god, it's so loud, sorry, addresses one of the strangest mysteries surrounding the show. Right after the first jester left, a certain number of events happened, all meat related. Yeah? Clown meat, yeah? Apart from, wait. Meat related. They were delivered meat and catering. Apart from the panic concerning the catering, several rooms in the castle were found packed with pieces of rotten meat, taking the place of props that were supposed to be there. Even if the crew in charge of the scenery denied everything, the events blew out of proportions in increasingly troubling ways. Oh god, even inside the eggs. The production even had to install security cameras in the set in order to try to identify the culprits, but it remained useless. What is that? That's a body of some kind. It would seem that the meat appeared on its own, almost like the brain pit. Apparently the radical decision from Season 6, introducing three-dimensional sceneries, put an end to these manifestations. Look at the end there, wait. Look at the shapeless kid. It's all messed up. Aura rooms. Wow, you've got such a nice aura. The different documents found after Jay went missing proved that he was particularly interested in aura phenomena and the Kirlian effect. What's the Kirlian effect? Obsessed with all the alternative ways that would allow him to to corroborate his theories, Jay was convinced that auras could confirm the efficiency of its protocols. Oh. What is the Kirlian effect? Should I search it up? Is that spoilers? Kirlian effect. Kirlian effect. The Kirlian effect works by placing an object or a body part on a photographic plate or film and applying a high frequency electric field to the object. This electric field causes the formation of a glowing, colorful corona discharge around the object. So what this is the Kirlian effect. Ah. In one of the rooms of the castle, there were special cameras which would capture and show auras on screen. Quite unexpectedly, only the aura of the room itself appeared, but no human presence was recorded by the captor. So no people could ever be seen. None of the contestants could ever be seen. However, the room seemed to glow with different colors according to the number of health points of the contestants. Since the results were not satisfying enough, the process was quickly dismissed. They never realized that the people were almost being absorbed into the rooms. Weller rooms, that's an eyeball. The Weller rooms could appear at random. The well, like with the jester. If a well had actually been built especially for the needs of the show, the original prop painted by an artist disappeared from the studio. After this theft, wells started to emerge from the ground in random scenes. Just like the meat apparitions. Read! Just like the meat apparitions, this issue was stopped by the shift to digital sceneries. The most striking well was the one leading to the purple dimension. See keys? What? Keys. So first entities. I want to know what these entities are. Wall monsters. Ooh. Wall monsters were special features of the show. We find very few similar examples in other bestiaries of legendary creatures. Why other bestiaries of legendary creatures? Why does it matter what the bestiary is? Why does it matter to correlate them and almost cross-verify their existence from other bestiaries of legendary creatures? Presumably not from the show. It is difficult to say if they are allies or enemies, since their behavior was always unpredictable. They would randomly appear in empty rooms and nothing in particular seemed to announce their arrival. The wall monsters made sure to terrify the assistant players. They were only a voice for the bearer of the helmet. Right, because they couldn't see outside. Somehow, they represented the spirit of the castle. They knew its history and they had watched the adventures of all the players. When we try to decipher their particular way to communicate, we find in their words a sort of ancient wisdom. Their size and colors revealed how dangerous they could become. Yeah, because it's fascinating, right? You see the face, but the head and the face of a being is only one small portion of it, of nearly every single creature out there. And so, though you may see just the face, and though it might be kind of large, it scares you because you realize it could be even worse, even larger than you could ever imagine. As a whole. However, the production crews asserted they were not to blame for the apparition of a face in the altar room during the season 4 finale. Good. Creatures. Say, it doesn't like this. All these creatures locked out from our understanding. Why? As if to say, these weren't just creatures. No. These were real. Anomalies. I lost my button. I have lost my Maya button. Oh god. Oh my god. The skull faces. That weird smiling ball of chocolate. Oh my god, the blood on the walls. Oh god. Anomalies and anomalous material, just anything that's anomalous is implied to be something that they didn't expect. It was the unexpected, the unknown came out of nowhere. So what are these, really? Spiders. Children with the helmets on, many of them. Something staring at us at the very end. The eye in the well. Objects. Key was the one that we needed to see, but let's see various food. The contestants choosing food during the choice trial expressed their need for energy and motivation. Yeah, like a whole raw, just a raw fish, like just a. I would soap. Like, at least go for the bun, right? But a whole raw fish. It's always sort of funny that, like, in RPGs, you can buy, like, a whole raw fish. And many times you can just eat the whole raw fish. But it takes a lot to prepare a fish. Like, it's not the easiest thing to prepare. It's kind of annoying, actually. Almost always better to just buy meat or something. The players seem to develop different physical or cognitive capabilities according to the products they would choose. Like cheese in a potion. The only incident happened in episode 7, season 3, when a roasted chicken was offered to the contestants during the choice trial. The players started to weep with joy, hit by a fit of neurotic euphoria in front of the chicken, and the sequence had to be interrupted. It was the first and last time that cooked food was offered during the show. It's like you're a prisoner in Guantanamo Bay and they finally give you like a nice like Rice Krispie, and you know, of course you break down crying. You've only been eating like mulch the entire time. Fruits and vegetables, here we go. The contestants favoring fruits and vegetables during the choice trial manifested a need for vitality and energy or an overwhelming thirst for life. Apparently, vegetables were a more psychological sort of food, whereas the fruits seemingly affected the players on a physiological plan. How about gold? Each contestant who would choose the gold bar seemed to be searching for eternity and inner wealth. The Jester. An eternity of the Jester. This longing for accomplishment was almost pathological, and often appeared through hasty and inconsiderate decisions and through overconfident reactions. And yet, the contestants who would choose gold usually led their team to victory because of their ambitions. The key was related to the room. The contestant who would choose the key expressed a longing for freedom and knowledge, a need to unlock a zone in their own mind, or to express their determination to resolve a complex inner conflict. Apparently, a specific protocol was implemented to the bearers of the helmet who would choose the key. Many among them could access the Land of Dream. The process generally followed these steps. When the contestant chose the key, it triggered the apparition of a special well in one of the nearby rooms. If the contestant decided to step into it, why would they enter this? They could access the purple dimension, as Jay was on this call in his notes, yeah. In all likelihood, one of these extra dimensional translocations gave the great gave the greatest number of results. The dimension was finally detected thanks to the technology integrated to the helmet number 4. So, what's interesting is that it makes it sound like these were set pieces, and then all of a sudden these kids are actually being teleported to different places that they had no clue about. The images show a dominant feature of pink/purple color, but we ignore if this dimension really adopted those colors, or if it was an effect produced by the recording process. But what about those two these two goons, these two goons just walking up to him? After the descent into the well, the contestant would reach a forest. Several explorers of the purple dimension mentioned the apparition of doors which seemed to lead into the darkness. They stepped through one of these doors, the contestant would be brought back to the initial forest. Huge breathing meatballs would then appear. I have to be away. Sorry. Okay, I'm back. Okay, here we go. Network 7 Studios apparently caught fire right when Jay tried to make a more thorough map of the zone. So Jay was one of the participants. I remember them mentioning that. Or maybe he was just a watcher. The only human figure who'd be found there was a sort of mute ferryman who never reacted to the contestants' solicitations. But it's interesting because it's like, where would he have ferried you to, right? As a person, where would you go? Who is Jay again? Uh-huh. 8 seasons, Bertram. He's not Bertram. Who is Jay? Have I just sort of like adopted this reality where like Jay is just supposed to exist? Wait, Jay. It's not the jester, is it? Who is Jay? It's not the jester. I don't think it's the jester. Enemies. Here we go. Okay, sorry. The meat? Wait, that was chicken. Again, the chicken. Maybe it was Jay the Jester. Pie. The kids who would choose the pie expressed the need to share or, on the contrary, a yearning for acknowledgement. The pies were presented a few times to the contestants, and those who would choose them seemed to be more likely to find themselves in the yellow rooms. The pies in the show were prepared in a nearby bakery, which has never accepted to reveal the recipe. A family heritage from generation to generation. Look at the shape on the pie. Seemed familiar, right? Wasn't there like a room thing over here which had that shape too? It was a particular room thing that had that shape, no? One of these rooms had that same shape. Maybe it was a well room. Objects. Yep, a family heritage from generation to generation. Yeah, that exact same shape was like that lattice shape was on something that we saw last time. Within one of the room pictures, I think. Or at least one of the that top right section, stones. Several precious stones were offered to the contestants. Those who would take them during the choice trial expressed through this decision a need for anchoring or for personal stability. Several stones of colors were submitted during the trials, and apparently, the red ones were the stones that would trigger the greatest number of negative reactions among the contestants. Each contestant who would choose the glove sought a feeling of protection and safety, but also expressed a need for limits. Choosing the glove could be useful to solve the struggles the team could meet, or it could reveal a much more personal need from the bearer of the helmet. The fabric the gloves were made of affected the statistical frequencies of that choice. The gloves seemed to prefer the real leather gloves, and they never chose the gloves made of synthetic fibers. That's interesting, as if they always knew. I can never tell if it's a fake material or a real. The flask. A great number of distinctive flasks were presented to the contestants. They were labeled with tags supposed to give information about their content. It was proved later that those flasks were filled with sand, oil, or bicarbonate of soda. You know what it is? This small, almost like scanline effect shifts the letter like a tiny bit to make me think it's a different word. Each contestant who would choose the flask expressed a yearning for fierce motivation or for luck. The contestants seemed more likely to take interest in the flask with the more grotesque names on their tag. What does that mean? Stones? Stairs? Stomach? The corks were sealed after season 2 when a contestant drank a whole flask of oil before the crew could react, of honey. Believing that it was real. What weapon? Every weapon submitted to the contestant's choice was fake. The players who would choose a weapon was sometimes motivated by a desire for revenge or a feeling of depreciation. When there was a weapon on the table, it was systematically chosen. Worried by the message it would deliver, the production eventually decided to considerably reduce their presence until they were finally completely dismissed despite Jay's sharp disapproval. Why did Jay disapprove of this? And why was Jay documenting this as if to figure out what was the truth behind it? But then also, why did he disapprove it? In which case, maybe it was the Jester. What was the incident, right, involving the Jester? And because that's the only reason why I would think Jay is the Jester. Symbol. It didn't like that. See, that symbol. Bone. All the contestants who would select the bone during the choice trial seemed to be motivated by a seed of rebirth or for a sort of psychological reinvention. Choosing the bone was about accepting your own ending in order to live again. Each contestant selecting this object would often display signs of excitement and a great physical condition, along with a disconcerting ease to move around in spite of the helmet. That wasn't the bone of a regular thing, that was like a ribcage of a being. Miscellaneous. Among all the objects offered to the contestants, some of them did not belong to any particular category. A jog in the shape of a buffalo horn, a spellbook, a figurine. Is that Buddha? An hourglass, a dish towel, a bar soap. I mean, it's pretty good bar soap. A vase, a bell. Whose hands are those? Wait, those are the Jester's hands. Those are his clothing. Why was he there to offer that? Why is he there to offer these things and the bell? Experiments. Helmet. Oh, okay, sorry. The remote viewing. After Jay went missing, it appeared from the different documents which were found that he was particularly interested in experiments related to remote viewing. So it was the Jester, because he disappeared after season 1, is what they said. After the incident, which is sort of like what sparked this whole thing, Jay was captivated by CIA's research of this matter, and he consulted the entirety of the research conducted by Russell Targ and Harold Puthoff at Stanford University. In Remote Viewers, The Secret History of America's Psychic Spies, America did a lot of weird experiments early on. MK Ultra and the stuff was just sort of their attempt at seeing if this stuff was real, right? And again, from the perspective of, like, say, a world nation, or even just any party that has some interest in preserving themselves, right? If you had the ability to define a level of power for yourself and collect it all for yourself and an understanding of it that would put you and give you an edge over everyone else, why wouldn't you? Because you don't know if it's real or not, but if you have the means to test if it is, then maybe, just maybe, you could be the first one to really use this. Imagine the power of that, right? Imagine the power of that in the hands of a military, particularly for a nation. You would know the world's secrets. No one could hide anything to you. There would be no politics as it is today, as it is in that game, right? I'm not talking about politics as in, like, whatever your nation's politics are. I'm talking about that international global set of politics, that game that people play, where they push and they pull. There wouldn't be any of that, because you would just know. It's fascinating to read those experiments, because it's, on the one hand, it's like, well, of course it's not real, dummy. Like, why would you even spend money on this? What a waste of money. But at the same time, when you understand the motivations behind that, it's like, oh. And here, we see that parallel with what Jay was captivated by. Because it's not the fact that like it is real or something or it is not real that is the point of why he's trying to find out about it, why he's captivated by it. We're about to find out, or maybe even get hints at least, and maybe even just a hint, probably, at most, as to why he was interested in it beyond simply its existence. Because what was the Jester incident? What happened to the children? Why was he so obsessed with getting them to choose the weapon? And how does this all relate into this piece of knowledge that we're getting now? Russell Targ, yeah, that guy has no eyes, that's weird. In his notes, Jay mentions the mysterious Oracle project, and we believe it could be related to Protocol 12. During the last 3 seasons of Maze Masters, the helmet was probably equipped with a device allowing a kind of remote viewing, but no proof of results related to the research has ever been found. But what were they viewing? That's a bedsheet. Remember that image before? The yellow rooms. This is a room that they're in. And a bed sheet. Well, a blanket almost. As if he's in someone's room. Did you see that? Look. Trapped. One-way sliding door. Some image at the very end there. Hallucinogens. Okay, sorry. Brain camera. Okay, sorry. It's weird the interference that's here all the way through, as if they're trying to stop us or something. Third eye pictures. The information given in this section is, to a certain extent, speculative. Discusses the doings of a certain J something and the different groups he supervised. The Self Bureau, the Dream Clinic, and at the time of the events, Third Eye Pictures. So Jay is not the Jester, sorry. So Jay was the one running the show. The Self Bureau and the Dream Clinic are interesting names for things. Reminds you of those experiments. And I wonder, you run a clinic like that, who are your clients? And what are they after? Jay's scandalous personality and his different aliases, not to mention the eccentric gossips about him, have all blurred entire parts of his biography. That's interesting. According to certain elements from our investigation, there's an individual known as James/Jeremy/Jacob/Jasper came from Wales. He could be around something years old today. This person was indeed identified by several witnesses who spent time with him. There is no trace of Jay or his aliases in the British Administrative Archives. 5 years after the events, a certain number of former members have accepted to speak out, enlightening us concerning a few elements of their experience. What? Oh, and then this is the start of the section. Oh, I see. That's terrifying. I thought I was brought to a whole different place, so I was about ready to maybe scream a little. I was ready to scream, you know. I thought we were in a whole different zone, and something was going to happen at this point. Thankfully, it's not that bad. But Jesus Christ, was that terrifying. Origins and precepts. Here we go. The Self Bureau. We could find no trace of Jay, who was known as Jacob at the time, before he arrived at Cambridge University to study psychology. He attended the course delivered by Devin Kay, who quickly became his mentor. As a specialist of altered states of consciousness, he taught Jay the fundamentals of parapsychology. We ignored the true extent of their collaboration, but it became more than an academic one. Jay would spend all his time in his teacher's lab, and he had to retake a year on account of his many absences. 4 years later, Devin Kay was diagnosed with a rare disease and left the academic world. Jay was described by his classmates as one of the best in the year group, but also as the strangest one. Oh my god. The Kirlian effect. It's that same effect. right? That we talked about earlier. You electrify something and then you see the outline of it, as if to see the aura of it, as if this was his auric awakening. I have no clue. I'm just making words up at this point. Though I'm sure auric is a real word. For instance, he had no doubt about the scientific validity of extrasensorial perceptions, ESP, and the models of their practical application. He was often described as an unfriendly man, yet a little group of students would always spend time with him. After their bachelor's degree, they created together a student society called the Self Bureau. Due to the nature of their experiments, which the university has never wanted to reveal, the young members of the Bureau were sent down right before their PhD viva. The members of the Bureau moved to Birmingham. There was no sign of them for a while. The Dream Clinic. We were finally able to track down, 3 years after the Cambridge incident. Track them down, the students of the Self Bureau. At the time, Jacob was called Jasper. They had settled in a medical center in Birmingham's suburb. Internally, they called it the Dream Clinic, and they used the building space as both a living and a working place. In the clinic, they conducted several experiments related to REM sleep into the psychic states of inconsistent consciousness. The treatments were free, and the candidates to the experiments were paid. I would do this. Microphone to record snoring. Nasal cannula monitoring airflow. Electrodes monitoring brain waves, eye movements, and muscle activity. Electrodes monitoring movements. Respiration belts to monitor breathing. Finger oximeter monitoring blood oxygen levels. How does the finger stuff measure your blood oxygen? But also, maybe this is just a sleep study. We cannot explain how the group had managed to find such an important source of funding at the time. For 5 years, Jasper and his team carried on their research without anyone noticing. Apparently, something happened in 1981 since the group split up that year and Jasper disappeared again. Thanks to the testimony given by Terence B., we were able to trace the nature of the research conducted by Jasper, but also the reasons behind the dissensions of the group. What happened? During the first 2 years, the team made a major breakthrough decisive for the forthcoming events, including the show. POV, you've just nutted, but she still wants more. And like those other memes of like, dudes think they want a bad bitch until they get with me and I want sex like 6 times a day, and it's like, oh, and then it's like just like this image. That's the dude and that's her. That's the bad bitch. I love those stupid memes on Twitter. I actually retweeted one. Me and my, what's it again? There's one that I retweeted on like Twitter. One specific one. That's so funny. Here we go. Moi et la gothique qui m'a donné mon premier orgasme de la prostate. Me and the goth girl who gave me my first prostate orgasm. Orgasm. Oh god. Sorry. This is a scary game. They argue there that they identified a dream dimension containing spatio-persistent places and zones which could be visited. Oh my god. So the show wasn't placed on a set. That was a dream place. That was a real dimension that the kids had stumbled upon. That was a place that they were visiting on their own. The starting point of their discovery was the case of Norma T., a young woman suffering from night terrors since childhood. Thanks to an ultrasound therapy treatment paired with hypnotic suggestions, Jasper managed to help the patient. Because she was stuck, suffering from night terrors. What cured her of her night terrors? But Norma became subject to recurrent oniric visions which lasted several weeks. Jasper used the same treatment on other volunteers in the clinic, and the results exceeded their expectations. They experienced the same visions, and they became systematic, despite the complete isolation of the patients, as in, they entered a single shared world. They didn't enter their own sort of like dreamlike state. No, that's how they knew that this was a shared world. They knew that this was a stable place that they were going into. At first, the images were peaceful. A little bridge leading to a calm sea. A majestic tree bathed in light. And as they walked further into the dreamlands, the visions became more symbolical, even mystical. The candidates mentioned visions showing huge eyes staring at them and a face of cyclopean size. Isn't that the... That's her. That's the meme of the woman staring down at the thing but with a blue background. Well, not exactly. It's like very similar. You know what it is? I see blue-eyed person and I think, that's the one! That's the meme! Same angle. Very similar angle. All the candidates explained that after a little while, they would see a sort of tunnel or an arch shaped by trees. Yet at the end of this strange corridor, a door or a gateway would appear, which is exactly what you would expect. Yeah. Look at this. These faces, huge faces staring at them, almost like the wall monsters. And a door or a gateway. Gateway to take you somewhere else. That's a cool image. God, I love these images. You know, back then, right? A lot of like computer generated graphic stuff. A lot of their promo images were very much this vibe, and I enjoy that a lot. It gives you a sense of some feeling that it's hard to describe, but it feels terrifying yet strange all the same. As they got closer to this gate, the candidates would show signs of tachycardia. Some of them would also be subject to vomiting. That's something involving your heart. We suppose this is the moment when the group started to split. Jasper and two of his most faithful followers really wanted to see what was behind that door. The other members expressed a certain unease concerning the uncontrolled protocol and the possible effects on the candidates who had not yet given their full consent. Despite those dissensions, one last experiment was conducted on 10 or so candidates who were given an anti-nausea medicine. That's the place where they're doing it, with a toilet. All the subjects said that after stepping through the door, they experienced a stream of traumatizing or nightmarish images. It could have been a case of phobic hallucinations from traumatic memories, or about death. The dreamers mentioned a huge house lost in the middle of an empty and sinister heath. House, the blanket, the yellow room. Once they stepped into the house, the candidates could see stairs and a checked, patterned floor. The house seemed empty, but they all mentioned a heavy feeling in the chest and a metallic taste in the mouth, blood. Among the three candidates who climbed up the stairs, two of them mentioned their meeting a young girl standing among wooden flotsams. When she spoke, no word came out of her mouth, only a strange sound of wood cracking and breaking. The last witness mentioned meeting with a special entity carrying a gladiator sword, and he explained that he woke up the moment he tried to get closer. Gladiator sword, almost like Galahad or something? Like a knight. Evidently, the candidates were deeply troubled by this experience. The peaceful visions had given way to unclear but terrifying scenes. Some of them left the clinic in the middle of the night without even taking their belongings. The distant parts of the group threatened to call the police. An argument broke out and some of the members came to blows. Jasper ran away at dawn with his partner and two other adepts. They took with them a few files, some materials, and the remaining cash. The Prague years, wait a minute. Right, because the show is done. What we saw all these documents before was about the show. This is the stuff that we knew the most about, as that pertains to what Jasper did. This is all the stuff that we don't know what he did, and so the information is much more sparse. We only know a few things about this period, but several compatible elements confirm that Jay and his acolytes went into hiding somewhere around Prague. Prague? They became extremely discreet, and it would seem that they were invited by an acquaintance on site. They found no trace of rent or bills under their names. After the fire of Network 7 Studios, we did find a few pictures in Jay's office. Of where they lived. They apparently lived in reclusion. However, a great number of parcels was delivered to the address of their living place. The inquiry established that they contained books. The number of volumes is likely to have represented Jay's important esoteric collection found in the studio. See Archives books. Ooh. Which is now burned. 2 years ago. Why is it? Oh, right, because they had to hide the faces. Yeah, sure. 18043. One of these numbers must be important somewhere. That's a date time. 54. One of these numbers has to be important for the Jester Room, for sure. 2 years ago, an independent journalist discovered a book written by the couple during their Prague years, but published in the United States. Entitled Dreams, Transform Your Life to the Power of Your Dreams. Introduces different techniques related to dream control. Here are the names of a few chapters. Painting the Legendary Tree. Taking a Mental Self-Portrait. The Third Eye. Identifying your personal archetypes. Building a House of Dreams. Sketching dreams. Digging into the unconscious. Learning to fly. On the dream highway, as if it's pushing you down the road towards the gates. Posing a visual question, which is now asserting control in your dreams, right? You're also building like more of a what's that type of dreaming called, where you're able to exert control of it? I forget. Building a dream temple. Setting your dream self free. TV production. As soon as he came back to the United Kingdom, Jay put a lot of money in different kids' TV programs on cable channels. There were a few noteworthy examples. The Cranky's electronic comic. Galloping Galaxies. Is it the shadow shift afterwards? That's kind of freaky. Ghost Train. The computer program. Alphabet Zoo. The Trapdoor. Terror Towers. Alias the Jester. Alias the Jester. As if he was the alias. Jay the Jester was his alias. That's why he disappeared, quote unquote, from the show. Shaking head face. Hello, Mod. You're heading to the bus for a good time. I'm gonna love the bus. Am I the Jester? No. It's even worse than you could ever imagine. He's a monster. Fair warning, you might be afraid. So if you get scared in the bus, I'm so sorry. Between 1990 and 1995, Jay funded, through his affiliated company called Third Eye Movies, 8 feature films, thanks to the benefits collected with Maze Masters. Shaking head face. Most of them were immediately released on VHS, and they can no longer be found. Although all of them are horror movies, we can notice, in the course of the years, a shift toward increasingly gory and deviant content. Surprising choice for a production studio specializing in kids' TV shows. You can click on the tape to see some of the photograms from each movie. Sure, let's go Prison Kill. Oh my god. Now that... If this feels like a scene from the Terminator. When he holds the back of your head and he won't let go. Third eye. As if his third eye is opening. Evil eye. Hey, look, it's like Metroid. It's Mother Brain. They'll condense down to only the eyeball. Oh, that's a good monster. These are very good. I love how these look. These look like real practical effects, and I hope that they are because they look so good. I imagine they probably got like screenshots from various old movies and they just put them in here, but it's such a good collection of it that it makes it feel real. Dead planet. This is a dead planet of aliens. Our 3 heroes are stuck in a glass jar. Is she topless? Is that Titty? Rain. I think Jay had a type for this type of a character. I think Jay had an obsession with this one still. This one game has had so many good reaction images. Like this could be an amazing reaction image. Yeah, comes when he holds the back of your head and won't let go, and you finally come up for like a breath of air. Same with this one, actually. Same with this one. Wait, what? Dead Planet and Prison Kill have the same scenes. Brain Feast. Oh my god, he's drilling into the brain. Jesus. Wow. That's intense. Goat head cleaved in half. Actually, goat heads were used very often in ancient ancient rituals. Like the Legemeton mentions a goat's head or something at some point for one of the rituals. It was the lion's head, but you need something about it to make it like work. Obviously, there's different fields where it's like you follow the letter, you follow the spirits, and then you don't follow it at all. But those are brains, spaghetti and brains. I see what the movie's called, Brain Feast. What you got there, buddy? What's in your plate, eh? Is that a plate of spaghetti and brains?
Yes, it is.
It hurts. Meatballs. Is it a pair of balls? Okay, cool. She's getting gripped. Oh man, that is a fiendish smile. Oh, and then she gets eaten by the brain monster. Oh god, yeah, her head's being eaten clean off. That guy is good. Okay, that guy is terrifying. Death trap. She ate shit. Like, actually ate shit. It's a mouthful of shit. Chained up. I don't know what this movie's called, but I'm gonna call it Chained Up. Into the hole. Spitting out, that's a lot of mucus. The fridge monster. The hole. Dark hole. That's why they fell into the hole. The Meat Man. I'm the Meat Man. There's a common theme in all of these. Meat. It's quite literally meat, like human meat and like human being, like organic matter. It's the one theme is organic matter and the head and the brain. As if they want to form something. And remember, the first 4 pilot contestants all went to school for biology and mathematics and were there to receive their mathematics award after filming the pilot. Controversies. Fudge, it's blood. Theories, here we go. The Williams theory. What? Super CD-ROM system. Multiverse. Secret Service. Pocket Dimension. Hallucinations. Tulpa theory. Hey. Some theories argue that the contestants might have created, without knowing, some sorts of illusory tulpas. What are tulpas? Tulpas are entities or realities materializing themselves through one's willpower only. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, it's sort of like this idea of like gods only have power as long as you have a belief in them too. And it makes sense of sort of like the dream dimension. Why it changes form so much is because these entities are almost trying to insert themselves into the mind of somebody who is strong enough to carry on their visage for all time. 2 long pages from one of Jay's notebooks enthusiastically analyze Alexandra David Neal's writings dating from her Tibetan period, telling about the tulpa she had created and destroyed while she was in Tibet. Is this a real book? Magic and Mystery in Tibet. It's a real book. I kind of want to read this. Wait, this is actually copyright free in a couple years, chat. Maybe. Yeah, this is copyright free in 4 years, 5 years. It'll take a while, but when she created a tulpa, she had created. Who was the tulpa? What was the tulpa that she created? Cole's theory. The theory according to which Jay behaved like a guru with the people around him is unfortunately quite solid. With much proof, actually. Many cults have been made in a time, and we know about this. Cults are very easy to create. I've made one here. When the Soap Bureau wrote to Third Eye Pictures, he never stopped pursuing parascientific goals, colored with New Age nuances. Almost all of his adepts refused to talk to us. Most of them seemed to be fearing for their life. They let me know that today, Jay is still somewhere outside, and they could explain their reluctance to speak out. Among all the research undertaken by Jay, none of them stray far from his burning need to seek a door beyond the frontiers of the mind and to stretch the limits of perception. Remember, he was most interested in remote viewing. And think about this. If cult theory and Tulpa are the two things that he wanted the most, what if that was the reason why he wanted remote viewing? Not to see answers or to find truths, but to exert control. Because knowing is believing, and knowledge is power. And if you know everything, then you have the ability to build up your power. I need to sneeze. You're lucky that I muted. In knowing this, that's probably why he wanted that. Because then he would be able to exert his mental influence across the world, but also he would gain a level of mental control and thus mental willpower that could then potentially give birth to a Tulpa of, I don't want to say epic proportions, but the word probably is most accurate as epic proportions. What was that? Why did it skip ahead? Cover-up theory. Can't mind control. Shadow people. Aside from the events from the TV show, Network 7's premises gained a certain reputation in the British paranormal small circles. Oh god. I know. Okay, I'm very terrified. Is my door locked? Yes. Okay. Several members of the production crews mentioned strange apparitions on some of the photographs taken during the shootings. Number 2, a shadow person. Here we see a shadow person appearing in the middle of the hallway. When asked, the homeowner mentioned that nobody was home at the time and that they had just entered the home. And yet, before they turned the lights on, they saw someone standing there. Afraid for their life, they turned the lights on and yelled at the person to leave their home, only to find nothing left there after the lights were on. Number 7, Burger King foot lettuce. Although the official investigation ignored this aspect, several theories pointed out the possibility that those apparitions could be connected to the different dimensions which had been explored, because they're now starting to become real. Like, they are becoming tulpas. They are exerting an existence in this world. Oh my god. The most persistent ones argue that those manifestations can be caused by a communicating vessels phenomenon. What? Yeah, see? Tulpas, communicating vessels phenomenon. Using the dreamer as the link. What's fascinating is that dreams and the supernatural involved with dreams have long been a thing across different cultures. But this is not the first sort of title that has taken this concept as well. Remnant has as well. And in Remnant, it has that same sort of effect, where we visit different worlds and we're seeing these different real things. And actually, it's funny because Remnant's story and this game's story are actually two sides of the same coin. In Remnant, it's what happens when it becomes a reality, and one of these worlds becomes much stronger than the rest. It's a fascinating approach. If a contestant entered the dream dimension, one of the shadow people would appear in our reality. Aside from those strange pictures, which could not be asserted as authentic, no other elements can support this theory. However, the fact that those entities appeared during occurrences of sleep paralysis remains disturbing, given the similarities connecting them in Jay's research. A dream world. Indigo children. Hey! The Indigo Prophecy, Indigo children. This is like in Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit Indigo Prophecy with the sex scenes? Archive, so here we go. Photographs. What? There's a face there. Do you see it? Right there. That's a face. Why are the photos so burnt out? But these were the photos that they recovered on the scene. So it's not like these are good high quality anyways. But look at that figure. Even look at the preview. Look. It's a creature that they're staring at, that they're walking away from, with its head, its brain connected by a brain stem. A stalk. This one's interesting because it should be a photo of a group of people, right? But then it's like a face that we see. It's as if we're seeing the reality versus what was actually there. There's a shape here. Someone's walking there, which isn't there in the original. 3 people. What we see is a 4th and a face down here. What a fascinating series of things. Oh my god. I feel like my third eye has been awakened. I feel like something deep inside me is waking up. I feel why do I feel this way? Why do I feel so odd? I feel like something is taking hold within my mind. A feeling that I can't seem to shake. I can't see. I can't see. I can't see. I don't know if I like it. I don't know if I like it. I like it. It doesn't. It makes me feel weird. Weird. It's like I'm peering into another dimension. It's almost as if it's like the effect of a remote viewing of sorts. The effect of the same thing that Jay was looking for. It's if I'm seeing a truth of some kind. That Jay was looking for. Viewing of. I'm seeing beyond this banal realm of ours. Viewing of sorts. Into something truly amazing. A world like no other. Ours. A world that Jay dreamed of. It's if I'm seeing a. Oh well. Books. The books listed below were all found by the fireman in Jay's office. Ooh, that's not good. Up in here. Up into your office, Jay. Semi-spirit releasement therapy. What? William J. Baldwin. A technique manual. I love these books because like these books probably are real. Like if I look up spirit releasement therapy. Yeah, this is a real book. Like somebody's selling this. And it's like, why is this? Who would believe this? And yet here I am. None the wiser. I feel like I'm the closest believer out of anyone here at the moment because of this game. Regression therapy. Present life recall. I love how it's called present life recall, as if it's like, this is not just memory. Birth regression. Climbing back up the womb. Also subtitle climbing back up the womb. Past lives therapy. So many times the past life thing, it kind of freaks me out a little, right? Because there's stories of like kids who will go, I used to be someone, mother. And then the mom goes, yes, who were you, dear? I used to be... And then they say the name of a dead woman. And then the mom pauses and is like, what'd you say, honey? And then the child goes, yes, I was buried here. Under the tree by, 7th Avenue and the 45th Spring. And then the mom, believing it, calls the police to dig there. And they find a body. And they're like, oh my god. What the hell's going on? It also reminds me of this idea of like the younger you are and like the it's fascinating because it happens mainly with the kids, right? But like the younger you are, the closer you are to sort of your death as well, because before you were born, were you really alive, right? And who were you before you were born? This idea of like you're close to that bridge of consciousness. And you see this you see this played with actually in Death Stranding, though we haven't gotten far in that game, mind you. It's been a while now. Where we did get to in that game was we saw the baby being the bridge between us and those other beings that came from the realm of death, right? It's interesting. Recover your soul, mind fragmentation, spirit releasement therapy, remote spirit releasement therapy, treatment of the demonic. He highlights spirit possession syndrome. Why spirit possession? Though I suppose if you can possess somebody, then you'll always be able to stay alive, right? Like you would be able to live forever. You would always be able to be someone new. Oh my god. It's why he's always had a different name. The reason why he's always had a different name, because he's always been somebody else. That's why they could never find him. He was somebody else. Every single time. Sphinx and the Rainbow. Of time as a river, of biological clocks and counters, of psychological bricks and mortars. 5, 6. 5, 6. The forecasting brain. How personal differences shape the stream. Mind beyond brain, or the question of a higher shaper. The puzzle of precognition. The ultimate heresies of Puthoff and Targ. First experiments, beyond card tricks, the hard science impact. The guesswork of psychology. The voyages of Carl Jung into this labyrinth of synchronicity. The holographic mind, into the maelstrom, the awesome question of a holographic universe. Precognition vistas, the problems of information transmission. Contact between worlds and free will versus determinism. The end of the rainbow. What is at the end? Master guide to psychism. Participation is the key to psychic demonstration. It's what the show is about. Card reading. Materialization seances. The reality of human auras. The Curlian effect. Protection through the aura. Indications of death by aura. Protection through the auras is interesting. I thought it was just a manifestation of power, but it also makes sense, right? That you would be protected by it, because the more power that you have, you'd be able to overwhelm and thus keep yourself safe from a being that seeks to exert its will on you. You would be stronger than the being that is out there. Life, death, and consciousness. Out of the body experiences. A light beyond the half-open door. A strangely terrestrial paradise. The ultimate destination. Death and consciousness. A conception of surviving in another world. The visions of dying. Why was this one marked as 5 and 6? Like, that's the thing that... Remember the Jester room? There's like a number that goes into what we see, right? 5, 6. The birth of space and time. The Gestalt Odyssey. 3 kinds of time and intuition. The frontal brain power. The lessons of lobotomy. Yeah, we learned a lot about lobotomy, particularly not to do it anymore. The mind's manager. The power behind the throne. The brain secret model for forget. Wait a minute, 5, 6. Wasn't that wait, 5, 6, 5, 6. Sorry. 5, 4. Shit. Oh no, let's just do 5. Let's do 5, 6. Well, no, let's just stay here for now. Let's just see if there's more. Wrong one, sorry. Death and consciousness. A conception of surviving in another world. The visions of dying. L'homme paranormal. Or strange men? The book is called, basically Strange Men. The strange men. The enigmas around us. Materialization and dematerialization. Passage and... Wait. Passage... No, passage... Travail la matière. Wait, the passage of material. Like, almost teleportation. Dematerialization of the medium. The medium being the person. Dematerialization of the medium. Materialization and dematerialization as a whole is a concept. And teleportation. To replace. To move. Extrasensory perception, PES, which is ESP. It's a bit like how KFC is a PFC in the Canada, and release and object releasing. What? And releasing objects. Release. What would that be in reference to? We heard that concept earlier. I forget what the English name of the concept was that we heard earlier, but it's the same concept. The visions of Aldula. What? Lodala? Chirurgic. Wait, no. Chirurgines, the energy of something. Or? I've never seen the word Aldela. Aldela. Beyond. Oh, visions of the beyond. Right. Visions of the beyond. Because this is, yeah. Or energy of the beyond. Right? Or is it? Chirurgy. Surgery? No, my brother in Christ. Wait, surgeons of the beyond? No, psi, energy. It has to be. Yeah, that has to be energy. And in this context, it's the energy of the other world. It's the dream world power. Some new plusieurs. My French is so bad now. It used to be decent. Like actually, used to be pretty good. Forbidden knowledge. Bob Kuti. Hidden forces. Things unseen. Faith and fantasy. Exploring the paranormal. Perspectives on belief and experience. To be or not to be human. Lysergic acid and transpersonal experience. Paranormal phenomena and the near-death experience. ESP. When men and women lose the sense of mystery, life will prove to be a grey and dreary business, only with difficulty to be endured. Very similar, by the way, to the same idea within Buddhism of we are blessed to be within and also cursed to be within, but like blessed to be within a realm where there's both suffering and not suffering. But yeah, the idea of like living is the realm of suffering is a very interesting concept that sort of has many parallels to a lot of spiritual stuff. And spiritual stuff has a lot of connections to like this sort of idea of mind dreaming stuff, because it feels like they both stem from the same almost root world, the root belief of like there's more to the world than we can understand, which is true. There's a lot more to the world than we can understand, but it's the unknown that makes it so curious because we're able to project this image of our own, right? In a weird way, if you think about it, because the world is so unknown to us and because there's so little that we know about, all the projections that we have of it are as real as the reality and the sciences as they can feel, as we've surmised so far, because we can neither prove nor disprove that which we do not know. And so realistically, at this point in time, we have in effect achieved a similar effect with the dream world and being able to realize these things in reality, but with the unknown of the universe. It's sort of a weird mind experiment to like think about. It feels more of a philosophical question. And I'm sure there's like probably somebody who's like better at philosophy that like can talk about it more, but I imagine it's within the same vein and category of questions as do you have free will, right? It's that weird paradoxical nature of knowledge and knowing the unknown, and how you can't know what you don't know, but because of that, it also means that the floor is at the very bottom, and the ceiling, like what it could be, is almost infinite in what it in reality until we can prove otherwise, and until we can prove if so. It's sort of like even the idea of like aliens, right? It's why aliens are so interesting too, because we don't know what's out there. We can't even begin to imagine. We can only start to see some things and we only recognize them over time, but the truth is, we still don't really know. And so it's hard to disprove the whole Dark Forest theory, right? It's really hard to disprove this stuff. Which then leads to a sense of proof, right? It's fascinating. Mr. VSP, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Science and ESP. Do opposites attract? Tricks the unconscious. For out of body or out of mind. Psychokinesis. May the force be with you. This is the new MetaQuest 5. Right now we're on the 4. The new MetaQuest 5 is you wear something like this. It sucks your eyeballs out into the machine, okay? But your nerves are still attached to your face. And what it does is it injects light all around your cornea, going straight into your optic nerves all around you to give you a full 360 zero gap experience. And then when you're done, you need to remember to press the button to insert the eyes back into your body, or you'll lose your eyes forever. It's really sort of like the ultimate immersive experience, right? They're gonna sue me. Like, Mike Zuckerberg is gonna come up and sue me. Although I will say that'd be a great April Fool's to do that, but I don't know if they would, because like if you do that, again, your whole product reputation goes downhill. But maybe I'll pitch it to them. Remind me to pitch that to them. MetaQuest 5 April Fool's announcement. Machine sucks your eyes out. Or like just a fake. That'd be a fun thing to make. Wait, hold up. Give me a second. I need to write this down. Maybe a fake. They went booba too hard. It just sucks out like fake VR headset video, parody video. And just take that image. This image. Fucking sucks your eyes out to give you perfect vision. Oh, that'd be a great video. Yeah, I'll do it. Fuck it. Especially, like, it just be such a funny concept for a VR headset. Specializations of the left and right hemispheres. So this is actually true, I think, right? Like, we still have, like, we do know that there's regions of the brain that are good at some things, or like they can do, or regions of your brain that are important for like things. But we also learned that the brain is very adaptable. So the brain can recover very much so from a damage in some part of the brain. Not mine, as you can hear from my stuttering, but most people can recover fairly well from damage in their brain. Mine, not so much. But let's say you lose your language processing side, well, you know, it'll recover and do as best as it can, and it'll reconfigure itself to be able to still use it. So maybe this is a lot more elastic than we believe. Though it makes you wonder where mine messed up. ESP and energy. What does this one read too? No being in the context of ESP, science values logic and objectivity, but this was the experiment. To see if they chose the right card where the other side couldn't see. ESP and energy. Another research problem is this. What kind of energy does ESP use? Does it operate on energy we know? Is that from the game? It is. Oh my god. With similar situations and different outcomes, along these lines, Randall describes another startling case of premonition. It concerns Jules Verne. And their minds connect to theirs. Does he become the collective unconscious? The collective unconscious. This is sort of like the interesting part of dreams, right? Because dreams, the way that they form, feels like it comes from our unconscious. If you don't have lucid dreaming, that's the term. If you don't have that, it feels like you have no control over it. But even with lucid dreaming, it's like it feels very hard, for instance, for me to be able to take the lucid dreaming to the very next step and actually take control of what I'm playing with, right? Like, I can't make things appear. I simply have control of myself in those situations. And I wonder how far you can do, how far you can go with that concept. But it is nice to lucid dream. Oh, I get it. He's connecting to someone. Whether having sex, I'm not really sure what this is supposed to imply. Like, I don't really know what this means. Because from the POV, right? Is this her at the foot of your bed? She's seeing this, and he's down here, asleep, awake. What is he doing? I don't get it. She's at the head of the bed. I see. She doesn't see the other person in the basement. What the? This is some IKEA building instructions. Can you imagine? IKEA building instructions are like this, and it starts off with this. Remember to read the instructions and gather the opinions of your friends and colleagues before you start on the project. Remember to measure your room. Be careful of any pitfalls that you may have. For instance, perhaps the previous owner had dug a dungeon. Be sure to account for the fall and how many meters you fall in order to ensure that you can build the bed. Please note, our wood is rated for only a 6-meter fall, so anything more than that will have to be lifted down via rope and pulley, a crane, or by simply jumping and using your body to soften the impact. Next, join a BDSM party. I'll be back. I have to use the washroom. I won't even lie to you. I set up like a trap in front of the door, so it'd make noise if someone opens it, because I'm terrified. I really don't want to deal with the stair door. Yeah, exactly. OBE physiology states the body's functioning, or as if they're trying to talk to the baby, right? I think Jay was trying to find a way to extend his life permanently by taking over the body of a baby. Which one were we on? Forbidden Knowledge? Oops. It was ESP. Right, we were on ESP. Okay, so that's the one with the MetaQuest 5. The Search for Psychic Power. God, that is a terrifying image. Why did they use this? That's their cover image? Dude, that is absolutely terrifying. Mass broadcasting experiment. Wait, remember when he stared? Bertram stared into the screen. At the end of every episode of Maze Masters, people reported headaches and stuff. Part 2, card guessing experiments. Analysis of experimental conditions. Exploring inner and outer space. The higher power who guides us all from our inner and outer space, and to all of us who are growing in awareness of our immortality and a multi-dimensional being. The quest for reality, the inner and outer space connection, consciousness connection, and a new biology, see? Darkness walks, the shadow people among us. The mysterious shadow people, negative shadows. The Hat Man! Why is there only one dude called the Hat Man? Getting rid of shadows. ESP. This is all real. Remote viewing, stronger than you can imagine. What's interesting too, every single note had a different color attached to it. So we should try and correlate all these things to see where the colors lie afterwards. Exploring the fourth dimension. If I'm in here, who is that out there? Climbing up the golden stairs. The scared and the psychic. Demonic possession. Collective unconsciousness. Wait. Psychokinesis, poltergeist manifestations, and demonic possession. A theoretical interlude, the collective unconsciousness and the psychic universe. By Carl Gustav. Mediums, the unconscious or life beyond. Cases explained by ESP cases. The super ESP theory. The super ESP. Explain the Unexplained by Carl Sargent. The Hand. Am I seeing things or do you see it too? Do you see lines coming down here? Or do you see people? It's like there's figures in the background, there's a line going down. Altered states 1. The Dream ESP and the Gans field. Mind voices. In search of the light, the attempt of a parapsychologist. Young children as psychic subjects. Hopes for the Gans field. I don't know. I don't know anymore. Imagine you buy a book that purports everything in it to be real, okay? The attempts to collect the knowledge of an expert gained over however many years, maybe even decades, of research into a subject. And one of the final chapters is I don't know. Anomalous experiences. The role of altered states of consciousness in extrasensory experiences. Will we ever know whether extrasensory perception exists? Anomalous appearances during deep hypnosis. Apparitions of black dogs. Observing the impossible. Eyewitness testimony for dark room seances. What were one of the rooms? Remember, there was multiple types of rooms, right? There were dark rooms, there were other rooms. I can't go back here. I can't go back to the main menu from here. That's interesting. Let's go drawings. Drawings realized by the contestants after each show. The kids' drawing effect seems to last more or less 24 hours. Reproduction of the notes in French that Jay left on the back of the drawings. Junkin, 15. Opposition, vert rouge. So, two opposing colors, green and red. Test aura. Sanki sur depuis. What? Fragment de viande? What? Colorful fragments? Fragments of something. Sanki sur depuis? I don't know what that sentence means. EN to FR. We have a translator. A Google Translator. There we go. Sanki sur depuis. Blood coming out of the well. Green fragments? Meat fragments. Oh, viande, right. Not vert. Sorry, viande is meat. Yeah. My French is bad. Emily, 16. A monster. What is mer monster? Whisper monster. Pau nu. It's not us. What? Paanu. Oh, sorry. Pananu would be not us. Not to us. Meat monster, but not to us. Décrit? QQCH décrit. What? QQCH décrit. Oh, Kelka, something written. That's an interesting shorthand. What the fuck? Never seen that actually. Yeah, Kelka show. Yeah, that's a shorthand. Oscar 14. Of a mountain. Or a being, something higher up. But something written too. What is written? It's hard to really make out here. Again, the Jester tapes are very interesting. Coca show? I mean, basically, yeah. Isaac 16. By the visage sur la mur, a visage of a whisper, something of a whisper. The whisper monster, but it's not the whisper monster. It was something that's like whispering to you. The whisper monster, inconnu. What is inconnu? Unknown whisper monster. PSC? Entity, a red entity. What is this? I don't know what this is. KSE. Q? Keska something. I don't know what the S stands for, but it's not something. Keska something. Ezet? Ezet? And some red creature. Elliot. Like a squid monster of some kind. And look at the face on the bottom there. Jolene 16. Ombre entity. A very ombre colored entity. Yeah. And a portal or like a gateway of some kind. Christine 15. Huh. Someone dead. A connection. Oh, it's as if they're forming a connection of some kind. And the fourth head. What the fourth head? Test protocol 12. What was 12 again? What? I think that was the. Wasn't that the helmet or something? It was the helmet or the bleeding, no? Oh no, those were the first ones. Steve with 2 E's. That's impressive. 14. Yellow creature. Coron. I don't know what the word is. Coron. Crown. Gua. I don't know if it's a king. I can kind of see the crown going there. Maybe it is about the Merlin thing, because there was references to Merlin and stuff too, and Galahad would sometimes appear. But maybe that's just the setting of the show, because then would this be King Merlin, right? Because the whole wizards of the, because Merlin the wizard and this idea of like what is like the Arthurian legends actually have quite a few mystical, magical sequences in them. Red entity, meat, the meat monster. There's always something about a meat monster. It's why they felt bad about it when they ate the chicken. As if the staff members weren't real, and that's why they hated eating chicken meat, anything cooked. Oh, but why did the contestants, for instance, choosing the chicken, sob in front of it as if they were missing the meat? As if they were missing a body, as if they were missing some sort of connection to something real and not just whatever they had. Alex 14. Evelyn 13. Ombre people. Blessings? A celebration of fire? What is foe again? Yeah, fire. What is blessings? Blessures? Fisheries, maybe? Injuries, sorry. What? That's the word for injuries. That's interesting. Ombre people. Injuries that they suffer. And a celebration of fire. Oh. Silhouettes of bodies. Right? Or like Alon Gay probably lying down. And then that. Oh, Tet is head. Wait, head of fire. Oops. Wait, so what's like a... Oh, Fete is a celebration. Like a birthday, sorry. Silhouettes of people lying down. Who's yours? God, it's man. My French is like awful now. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna learn French. Several bodies. Leviathan. Test of Protocol 3. Helen, 14. Dimension 7 of a castle. Triste. What does triste mean? Sad. Sad sun. Sommeil. As if it's sleeping. What is Protocol 3? We need to look at Protocol 3 again. William. Casque Fondu? The helmet that they used on the show. Is it meat? Not sure what it is. Appellation. And they're going towards Sean. They're like rushing towards him. The one holding the thing. The one wearing the helmet. Hieronymus. Excuse me, you name your child Hieronymus in this day and age? A bee monster, I guess, or a fly? Spider. Oh. Some ritual. And who is that? Wait, that's somebody coming upon the spider. They're accidentally viewing the ritual. It's a player. Oh my god. They're viewing a ritual. It's in one of those images. It's in the rooms with the monsters. This is all a recollection of what they saw. The Jester. That's the Jester. Why does the Jester spark so much fear in them? Okay, so we're done with Theories Archives, Network 7. You can't click on anything. Studio, filming crew, history. It's all... History is fine. It's on fire. I can't... I don't have I have no control. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Something rising from the fire. A figure that couldn't be burned away. Well, that's terrifying. Something made it out of the fire. They couldn't stop it. Authors. Creative teams. Program. This image looks like a stage of some kind. I feel like I'm entering... I feel like I'm going through a psyop. I swear to god. Missing footage. Oh dear god. The whole... The machines. There's like a facility and like creatures that are showing up. Like a whole different city as well. Like a whole different... landscape. Bonus. David Rowe art. DavidRowe.net. Holy shit, it's a real person. David Rowe retro artwork. Games industry legend. Beyond the scenes. Huh? Australian Financial Review editorial cartoonist. What the fuck is that title? What do you do? I'm sorry, I'm so confused. Welcome to David Rowe's retro art site. To see my work up close, I highly recommend picking up a copy of my thing. I produced something in the 80s and 90s for video games, magazines, books, have been digitized at high resolution. Clients have been from EA and beyond. What is your games? Let's see your games. David Rowe. There's a Rowe website. 3D pinball, 3D. Oh my god, he made some old games. Wait, that's actually kind of cool. He still has copies of them. So I'm assuming this is the behind the scenes bit here. Or maybe it's not. Wait. No, this is all still within lore. We're still within the lore. We haven't left. Chat, we haven't left the lore. We're still here. We're still inside this realm. There's a 5 on that wall. You see that? There's a 5. Video games, Maze Masters. Warning! There is a wall monster here. A guard without mercy. Yo, look at this keyboard. What? What is this keyboard? What is this? Amstrad. Wait, hold on. Amstrad. CEC 4B4 is that? What is that? Amstrad keyboard. DPC 464. Yo! Wait, possibly the most deck-looking keyboard ever. What the fuck is a deck-looking? What is this? What is that on the right side? Oh my god, chat. Yo, on the right side of this keyboard, it's a cassette player. That's actually sick. It is a keyboard with a cassette player and an arrow key setup that is absolutely awful, that has a copy button in the middle. That is the coolest looking keyboard I've ever seen, and I can't believe that this was real at some point. It could play music for you. Wait, that'd be a kind of a cool setup, right? You buy a game, it comes with a background music cassette, because there's not a space on the thing, right? So you get high quality recordings of your game sounds. You would pop in and it would tell you, play cassette 7 at this point on for the background music of Merlin's Castle, and play like a nightly theme. 2 weeks later, guys, I got a new keyboard. Can you imagine? Imagine it costs like $1 million too. In a sanctum. Wait. He was my first. The Titanic sailed from Southampton. True or false? In a sanctum. Prepare for your downfall. Treguard is the dungeon master's name. No, it's Bertram. Warning, there is a wall monster here, a god without mercy. Take rock. Go to the symbol, which is the odd one out. Press fire when ready. Dungeon passage. You can go this time, but next time I'll be less patient. The wall monster. Maze Masters 1991. Yo, look at this. This is a classic, right? Like wizardry style. Yeah. 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 Is his name Dickon? James is Dickon Sean. Does that say swag? I swear to God, that's a swag. Swing! It says swing. Sean the Healer. 3 monsters. Define team, load game. We're still within the universe of this. What a beautiful game. Gods of the Labyrinth. There's a face here. You guys ready? I regret this. I regret this. I regret this so much. Huh? Hello? I guess I'll just leave. The doorway. And you see what's weird about this? The doorway appears, no way to interact with it, as if we're missing something. As if we're still missing something. Nothing that I press matters too. Nothing on the keyboard either. But it must be important in some way to be able to figure out how to... Or maybe it's just important to see it. Because again, it's like the idea of you going through the dream world and entering into into that doorway to see what's beyond. That was what they were looking for this entire time, right? They were looking for that. Which is terrifying. We're genuinely terrifying. Jesus Christ, that's terrifying. Okay, well, I am trying to feel a bit better about this. Sorry, my heart rate tracker wasn't keeping up. Sorry. Board game. It's a nice board game. 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. 3, 2, 8. Can you imagine if they made all these assets for real? To make this like whole fake mythos? That'd be so cool. Because, like, it looks like a genuinely fun kind of game to play almost, to experience this. You almost can't wait to see what this is, but at the same time, it's like, dear God, this is the night monster. And then Galahad or something. Shining so bright you can't even see him. The crown. The lion. Maze Masters. Every mention of the name gets all blurry. Green, blue, red, yellow. The rooms, the helmets. And remember the highlighting of the names? There were red rooms too. We know about this. Some right, some left. Some left, some right. Merchandising. Maze Masters, t-shirts. That's cool. Let's Fortress of Assassins, cover art by David Rowe. Based on the thrilling TV series. And that's interesting. Imagine they actually got David Rowe to do this, because David Rowe made a bunch of art a long time ago, even and maybe even still now for old games, right? It's why his art feels so in place with it. He had some of the original style of those games. Still looking from his discography, or if he is even real, I don't even know. The Forbidden Gates. Lord Fear's domain. Can you beat the challenge? Labyrinths of Fear. Bad Dreams. The Maze Monster. The Mad Pope. The Cruel God. The Cruel God. The Brain Eaters. The Demon Flute. The Death Machine. The Talking Head. The Road of Death. The Dark Sabbath. The Spider Room. The Death Master. The Lake of Despair. The Dark Assassin. The Dreaming Skull. Knights of the Demons. Visions of Madness. Evil Monk. The Devil's Fish. Holidays in Hell. Paintings of Blood. The Everlasting Night. The Snow Kingdom. The Jester's Room. The Jester's something. The Jester. The Jester. The Jester. The Jester. The Jester. The Jester. Everything about the Jester. Game over. Oh my God. Look at the names too. The Jester Room. The Jester Smile. The Jester Conspiracy. The Jester is Watching. The Devil Drink. The Red Prophecy. The Jester Enigma. The Jester Enigma. Game Over. It's unknown. 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 Game over. Game over. These are all game overs. Game over. Game over. Game over. Game over. Game over. Game. Oh my God. Fan art. Let's go check out the fan art, guys. Let's go see the credits, guys. Text and research: Alan Q. Smithy for -1 Publishing. Soundtracking and sound design: Vision 2000 CD-ROM concept design. Translation: Litson. Thank all former employees from Network 7 and Third Eye Images who have accepted to testify. -1 Publishing. To contact us, please click here. What? Okay. I get it. These art students are wild, haha. You know what's going on here. That sequence of pictures, I think, is a key. To find the vision of road. Let's see if I'm correct. One of these must be correct at some point, and it keeps us on the screen. You see what I mean? Then we move forward. It's all about finding our way. We need to find our way through this to get to the end, and it's exactly that road. Oh, shit, okay. Fuck. These art students are really wild. They really love this game, eh? And maybe it's things that we've seen. There's this sort of like idea that you can implant ideas in people's heads, right? Like a psyop. Like quite literally, I think this game is trying to feel like a psyop of sorts. To plant an idea in your head to then get you to play out some scenario that's going to happen. Of these images, which ones have you seen? None of these. I remember this one. This is the Mythic Quest 5, the Eye. Of all of these, which do we know? I don't know. What was that? What was this image from? It was from one of the books. I need to understand the system to understand what's happening here. The books. ESP. Everything about the mind, I think, is what it's trying to say. I think it's everything about the mind. Anything that conveys images of the mind and trying to understand something. Maybe. Not that. Aura. Fuck! So if it's not aura, what is the system that I'm thinking of? The third eye, opening your third eye. But not the eye in the palm. A dream world, perhaps. Or entering the mind space, the visions. Yeah, here we go. Okay, I think I'm getting it. What's this emote? Should we add this? Yeah, let's add this. That's a good one. I'm in a psyop. How come it's like psyop like that? There. It should be like that. Okay, try it now. Oh, okay. I need to fix the name. Sorry. I need to fix the name. That's a that's a good emote. The site is kind of like wonky here and there. No, stop. No, wait. Stable. Enable with just lowercase psyop. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. All right, now type psyop. We're in. Okay, so here we go. ESP. First step is going under to see the thing. Second step is the. Is that it? Am I understanding this correctly? You see that red eye, that red dot? What was a red dot? What was a red dot? Okay, top right, really quick. So you put on the machine, you go to sleep. When you sleep, you enter into the dream. What do you see? It was that journey. It was that initial journey that you saw, based on the archives, on their journeys and what they initially saw. The road to the door. It's the road to the door. If I go back to their third eye pictures, I go back to Origins of Precepts, and I go to the Dream Clinic. Here we go. Yeah. Major breakthrough. They found a dream dimension. Starting point of the script was Norma T. And then she eventually got nightmares, honoric visions. Images were peaceful. A little bridge leading to a calm sea. A majestic tree bathed in light. Huge eyes staring at them. See a sort of tunnel or an arch shaped by trees. Bridge, light, tunnel. Into doors, trauma, nightmare, into a house. Stairs in a checked pattern. Heavy feeling, a young girl standing there with the flotsam. An NC with a sword, Galahad, probably. Left a link without the thing. And then the door itself. The door that we saw within the final game that we couldn't access. Okay, if I'm correct, that should be the theme that we're going towards. So now we enter into the dream world. Where is the bridge? We need to find a bridge that connects us to the next place. Something that allows us to move through. Or maybe we only have just entered the dream dimension. Do we even know what's happening here? Is that the theme that's like going on? I don't even know. This one's hard because like I don't really get the, like we're still piecing together what the theme of this is. I thought it'd be Galaxy Brain. Don't think in memes. Think in exactly the books and the information in them, as well as the experiments that they carried out. Is that not one of the experiments? I guess because she sees that side, it's not. Must be ESP related too. So not anything about auras either. Like the auras are important, but mainly ESP stuff. The third, you know what it is? I have too small of a sample size to determine the theme. I need more sample size to determine the theme. Okay, I thought it'd be visions. Kids' drawings. Why the kids' drawings? I don't get it. God damn it. I thought we were at that point. Why the kids' drawings? What do we do with the kids' drawings? That image was actually in the first one or the second one. It's an image that was skipped over. As we were viewing those like image sequences about the Maze Master show, learning about the behind the scenes, it eventually was skipped over automatically because we weren't allowed to see it. It was like the connections of the mind. Connections of the dreamer. And now we're at the phase of the eyes. We're seeing the eyes and the whole. What was the significance of the whole? The night. Am I not understanding what this sequence is? I must be, because it feels nearly random the way that I'm going through this. Like, why the kids' drawings? That one makes sense, but why all this? Wait a minute. That's the point. Think about this. What is one of the key experiments within all this that it was talking about? That like key test, right? To figure out if you had the ability to see things. Why is it saying contact us? Why is it doing this to help us contact them? In a way, in reality, this would be only a one-shot thing. In effect, this whole video would open our mind and make us receptive to the thoughts and the consciousness that is out there floating around us that's then being downloaded into our brain. It is effectively the thing that the game is trying to convey is that effectively you would be able to succeed this because of ESP, because you would be able to connect to the larger consciousness that is going on. But what is the next? It's not the whole. It's not him, but I swear I remember seeing him. It's an image that is related to exactly what we've seen. It's that psyop effect. Maybe it's all images we've seen, but I simply don't remember it. So I'm actually the worst person to psyop because I have bad memory. Because that image of that woman was also in one of these books, I swear. And like, you know, her brain exploring some cooler place. And I am almost 100% certain that these colors matter, but the colors matter for a different reason. So his image was first. Then why was what that other thing was next? So first it was ESP. Then what? Because ESP is not the only theme here. It's also transportation of matter. It's also exploring a dream world. It's also exploring more. I don't want to just like brute force it because it feels weird. I want to understand it so I can actually break through. But maybe that's sort of the danger. Is once you understand what's left of you. ESP is the beginning. It is the beginning of everything about the timeline. Going into the dreams, the patient sleeping almost. The drawings of the children. These drawings, people's recollections of what was there. And then finally, this the idea of connecting multiple minds and melding into one, getting information from multiple sources, and how some people seem to even perhaps carry information even further away. At least the ways that they match these cards together is what it seems like. Connection. ESP. The mind. Connection. ESP. The mind. Connection. ESP. The mind. Connection. EXP. The mind. Connection. ESP. The mind. And connection. EXP. The mind. The mind. Connection. ESP. The mind. ESP. Connection. ESP. The mind. ESP. Connection. ESP. The mind. The body connection. The body ESP. The mind. The body. The body connection. The body ESP. The mind. Body. The body connection. The body ESP. The mind. Body. The body connection. ESP. The mind. The body connection. The ESP. The mind. ESP. The dreams behind ESP connection. The ESP. The mind, the dreams, the mind, connection, the mind, EXP, the mind, connection, mind, the dreams, mind, the dream, connection, the dream, ESP, the dream, the mind, the dreams, the mind, the world, connection, the mind, the dreams, ESP, the world, the dreams, connection, ESP, the mind, connections. The dreams, the world, dreams, smears what we see, what we don't see. Hello, what do I see? What do I know? Smear connection, smear ESP, the dreams, the mind, connection, ESP, dream, the mind, connection, ESP. I'm gonna shut up now. I'm going crazy. I'm actually going crazy. Connection. ESP, the dream, the mind. I don't want to click randomly, right? Because systematically going at it, I want to test the theory, prove it. I want to test the theory, prove it. Test the theory, prove it. In a way, trying to get me closer and closer to the real answer that's behind all of this. You hope I don't have a Cryptmaster incident on my soundboard. What was the Cryptmaster incident again? Was it because I was just like stuck there in that same voice the entire time? It's been so long that I have no clue what like happened. Fuck. What is it? Nah, nothing. Nothing happened, streamer. It's okay. Ooh, close one. Wait a minute. The red dot doesn't correspond to anything. I was gonna say maybe the red dot corresponded to something, but it doesn't. But the eye is open. The 4 teeth, or maybe 4 banners of some kind. That hashtag to a rising sun, peering over the horizon. A grid, peering over the horizon, the sun, the grid landscape. What is the connection between these images? Huh? Why this one? Good night. Go to sleep. And then the night. Opening your eyes, seeing something, a grid, a gateway of sorts. The sun rising and the nighttime. I don't understand. Huh? 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 Absolutely fantastic. Sorry, I just couldn't really think of anything else. I was just thinking, like, what? Why did I go through that? And what was I supposed to see? And was there something else beyond there? Maybe there's a different answer to that, but it feels like the answers were almost completely random as to what they were. And I think I get what is going on. You see, I don't think Frontiers of the Mind is necessarily an expose on what happened. I think it's specifically being made by Jay in order to help guide us towards some answer here, instead of actually pushing us away or putting some bad light into him. I think when the fire occurred, something escaped, right? Something. It's now into our world. It feels like this is an attempt from Jay, or at least whoever made this, to find someone with the ability to be a part of these things, if that makes sense, right? Like that's what that feels like. Like they tried to find somebody who's like able to be here, to be a part of this whole thing that's going on. It's why they have this weird test. But then it's like, if no other answer matters, what does it mean when you're done that? Have you contacted them? Has contact been made? I don't really know. And I think this thing is supposed to be exploratory. I think it's meant to be open-ended. I don't think it's meant to be something that you can solve like a normal game. Like, it's not really a game, it's an experience. You're supposed to experience this as if it's real. And it feels like that. It's weird because it's like, it goes to such pains to make it feel real that at first it feels surreal, right? It breaches into some of the funniest topics, and then it starts to feel more and more real as you go through it, because the illusion hasn't been broken once in the entire experience. Not once has it felt like a game, ever. And in a way, you getting no satisfying answer, you getting no clear progression, you getting no ending, it feels like the only conclusion that something like this could have. That makes it all the more real. It is the ultimate fake out in the ways that it confuses you, befuddles you, but brings you in closer and fools you into believing that it's so real and that this is all they really had on that organization. This is all they had in terms of the knowledge of what went down during the Maze Master show. This is all they could have discovered, and there was nothing else there. When all was said and done, the fire took everything. And so just like them, we have no answers. But then it makes you wonder, with Jay and who they are, who are they? And who made this? Alan Q. Smithy from -1 Publishing. Anyone with a J name is suspect. Translation, listen. Litsin, that's amazing. That's a really good name for translation. We'd like to thank our four employees for the Network 7 and Third Eye Pictures. Yep. Who have accepted to testify and they've rated -1. Visa BMU 347. And I think that's what this is. I think this is effectively that kind of pyramid. 3, 4, 7. Nine. 4, 7. But I think that's why it feels so unsettling, right? Because unlike a game which has a clear ending, with a game, especially with a game, right, you know when the game ends, the game is over. It's like horror as a game element is so hard to convey, but why games are so perfect for a game, because the interactivity is what makes it real. That's what this feels like. This feels like the ultimate understanding of what makes horror. It's as if they actually understood what makes something terrifying. It's specifically the interactivity, not the game itself. And so what do they interact with? In a way, they've done the ultimate ESP move. They have effectively done the experiment with the cards on the table, and they've sort of done a successful psyop on our minds to force us to believe this. They've fooled us, but in fooling us, it almost feels enlightening in a way. It's fascinating. This is the best execution of this concept I've seen of a horror game. Because in a traditional horror game, again, when it ends, you know it's over. Here, I don't know if it's ever done. I don't know if it is done. And it feels like because it's not done, it's like the terror slowly sets in that, oh my god, the game, was this even a game? Is it ever really done? Because if you can't win the game, right, breaking expectations of the player, are you ever really free of the experience that you just had? That is a terrifying prospect to think of. And going into this and believing that this is true or not, you almost can't tell. Again, the HIO page for this is very much the same. It feels like it's real. There's no hint of it being a game. That's why I was so confused. That's why I didn't know whether to do it for horror game night or to do it some other day during November. Like I was thinking maybe I'd do this later as like the old media thing. But to then go through it, you're left with that same question. It's like I haven't really confirmed either way whether it is or it isn't. Like I know it isn't because if you search it up online, there's nothing. But then that's sort of it, right? It all went on fire. The only thing that you can see is this HIO page, and who's to say that the people who made this aren't real? You never really know. You never really know. What a beautiful execution on this concept. This really feels like the only piece of interactive media out there that understands what a horror game is, and the limitations of a horror game, and the best parts of a horror game. That level of control, the level of immersion you can only get from a horror interactive experience. And I just want to try if there's any other options here to continue on that doesn't get us the moon. Because I know which one gets us the moon, that one. But as if to say, it's quite literally, it feels like it's saying as if to say, go to sleep. Oh my god. That's exactly what it's saying. Why does the moon rise? These images that we see, your third eye is opened. Something is appearing from the sky. What teeth or something, like a mouth. A grid, as if you're entering a room. Like a lab, as if there are tiled walls. The sun rising, or something opening. Not the sun rising, the sun setting on the horizon. We'll see you in your sleep. Oh my god. Oh my god. That is terrifying and beautiful. And you rarely see stuff like this, right? Because again, it takes a lot of effort to make. This is a very art-heavy experience. It takes a lot of artwork to make this work. It takes somebody's passion and somebody's skill to bring this to life, right? There's a lot of visual effects that you have to like figure out how to make. There's a lot of the base storytelling that you have to write, and you need to make a story that sounds believable and surreal enough without feeling completely unknown, so as to be almost unbelievable, right? When it's too surreal, it feels a bit like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. You know it's fake. There's no way that the Chocolate Factory exists. But when it's something like this, so simple yet so effective, it feels like it could have been real, and you can't really disprove it. And that's sort of the beauty of this type of game. It's why it works so well with horror, because in horror, right? Especially because if you know whether or not the thing is real, the fear factor of it goes down as a whole. So not only do you feel like within the context of it being a game, is it real? And so it becomes like a real, and so it becomes less scary because you know it's a game, that it has an end. You also know that because it's not real, that it can't hurt you, that there's nothing to be afraid of. You can almost switch your mind off to say, hey, why are you afraid of this? It's just pixels on the screen. It can't hurt you. And then you go through something like this, and it leaves you questioning, what did I see? It really does feel like a government experiment that I shouldn't have seen. Wow, so scary. You missed probably the best parts of this, but the VOD will be going up tonight for this. Because, my god, this is good. This is so good. I clicked on that, I never clicked on this. I clicked on that. This may be the only answer. And it may be exactly as I say. Your third eye has awakened. The 4 something. Almost as like entering a lab. You're seeing images that they want to tell you. And then it's, when you click on that one, it's the moon to say, go to sleep. Go to sleep and we'll contact you. Because that's how you contact them. And that thought lingers in your mind. Because again, you're trying to you try to decipher what all of this means. And when you do decipher it, it leaves you with this feeling of, oh my god, I'm going to see them. Well, I've never clicked the help button actually. This usually actually tells a tutorial of some kind. I wonder if this changes depending on where I click it. Like here. But it's why these things are so scary. If it was real, the Jester was real, if all of this was real, if everything we saw, if everything we see is real, and all of it starts to take control of us, what happens to us? Can we ever truly escape? You're listening to the Jester right now. That's right. I made it out a long time ago. You can't escape. I've been here for a very, very long time. And I'm never going back. I'm never going back. Well, this was an amazing experience. I actually think this is a beautiful experience. This is absolutely thrilling. It's oh god. The pacing of this is so good, and this is the best demonstration of why games and just or rather interactive mediums are the best horror conduit. It's the best way to play a horror game or to show a horror game and push it forward. Because that level of control that you have is exactly the thing that makes you go like, oh god, what is going on? It's almost like you can't help yourself going through all of this. It's just so effective at what it does. I almost can't, and again, I can't believe that this is just so simple yet so good. And all it is just clicking a bunch of squares to see things. What? It's gone from my computer. Oh, it's back. Oh. So good. So simple, so effective, so good. Just such a beautiful concept executed well. The level of interactivity was perfect to give you that sense of like, oh god, maybe this is real. Maybe I am just stumbling upon some weird recollection of things. And it's like you almost forget that you had a fake computer show up. It's strange. Like I forgot that this was even a screen inside the game initially. It just left in my mind. So good. That's it for Frontiers of the Mind. It's a bit late for me to say, but maybe you should go through this too. I'm going to have trouble sleeping tonight. Compared to the last game that we played, this is going to be an absolutely terrifying night for me. But absolutely worth it. This is a masterclass, I think, in horror interactive experiences. And feels almost like a head above everything else that we've ever seen from the genre. At least as far as I know, right? And it's not an interactive game. It's the experience that you can't get rid of in your mind.